America's Mayor live. Live not from Tehran, but live from Palm Beach. However, I have, on numerous occasions, I would say at least a dozen and beyond times, finished speeches that I gave that were broadcast into Iran, saying that I look forward next year at this time being with you in Tehran. And that's been going on for quite some time. And I've been working with others, a large group of Republicans and Democrats and military retired people to attempt to overthrow the brutal, homicidal, insane Muslim leadership of Iran that has led to unbelievable numbers of deaths of Americans and an even larger number of deaths of their own people. The Ayatollah and Xi Jinping probably get the award 1 and 2 for slaughtering more of their own people than any other human beings on earth. The Ayatollah is currently engaged in that. He's killed, what's the number they're putting out, Ted?
Thousands.
Well, what's the number they're putting out there? Yeah, it's got to be a lot. It is without any doubt a lot more than that. And I think everyone agrees on that because they lie intensely about it. But in any event, we're going to have with us about 8:30 former Senator Torricelli, who is counsel to the MEK and has been for quite some time. And I have personally worked with him on any number of these issues, and he is enormously effective and very, very knowledgeable, and one of many extremely distinguished Americans who have worked very, very hard to have a government ready, not really a government, a transition group ready, so that when and if this monster is overthrown, there can be a group that can guide this country for a short period of time so that they can do what they were trying to do in 1953 or so, when our government and the CIA, among others, disrupted their democracy, imposed the crooked Shah on them. He imposed a Savak secret police on them and gave them, 3 decades of hell, which they remember well. He came away with it with a net worth of $1 billion and $3 billion in the Pahlavi Foundation. And his ne'er-do-well Nepo baby son, now after having not lifted a finger once and risking anything, when all the colleagues that I have been with have risked their lives several times, he wants to take over. See that big money falling back to the crooked Pahlavi family. I mean, his father's sister was a massive drug dealer. The old man was a massive thief. He's never taken a bit of food that wasn't paid for with stolen money. And he's never had a job. Probably should be mayor of New York, huh? Yesterday, there was a very confusing incident where it was originally reported by the crooked press, the dishonest, warped, crooked, pro-Ayatollah press. Why the hell they're pro-Ayatollah, I don't know. And why the hell Biden and Obama gave them hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Obama did it in cash, again, without being prosecuted. Giving cash to a terrorist usually kind of puts you in jail for the rest of your life. Meanwhile, he's running around, living with his wife who hates America in the lap of luxury. So there was this allegation that this U-Haul truck, plowed into a group of protesters. And the truck had on it somewhat contradictory markings. It said, no Shah, no regime, USA, don't repeat 1953, no mullah. So it sounds like they want this guy who was driving this truck wants a change to get rid of the theocracy, but not to bring back the monarchy, the oppressive monarchy. So let's take a look at it and tell me what really happened here, Ted.
Right. So we want to find the original. I had this very specific video I want to show where the driver was actually peaceful until this happened. So keep this in mind. This driver had his U-Haul truck with the messages displayed on the side.
This was in Los Angeles, and this was a pro protesters in Iran protest.
Yes, exactly. So,
but pro Shah, because the Shah has.
So we want to show this.
To the extent he has followers, a lot of them are in Los Angeles, and a lot of them are people from the former regime that stole the money with him.
Right.
I know this because I was involved as a lawyer with them from way back in 1979. So I'm not telling you this off the top of my head.
Right.
And then I spent 15 years with MEK, maybe just so that our adversaries who are making all kinds of very vicious claims about me,
right,
we can show. Why don't we put out that when we can? Let's put out that article that shows that that the people who threatened to kill me have been convicted.
Okay.
But this doesn't come without a great price.
So this is the sign.
Well, what was the sign on his car?
On the side of the truck. As you can see there, no Shah, no regime. USA don't repeat 1953. No mullah. Now, this is the incident. This is what kind of...
So where was this car? Parked next to the protest?
Parked in the protest. So admittedly, this guy probably didn't pick the right strategy for his.
No. I mean, you can be. There are any number of protesters against the regime that don't want the Shah.
Right.
That's quite legitimate.
Right. But
why would you want a monarch? I mean,
well, in Los Angeles,
the dictatorship and replaces it with a monarch.
It doesn't excuse what you're about to see, but of course, an Iranian protest in LA is likely to be pro-Shah. And I would just say from a strategic perspective, it's hard to protect yourself if you're alone in a large truck like that. I mean, you're a large target for the protesters and you're only...
So the Shah protesters are violent?
Well, that's what you're about to see here. I mean, I don't know how else if you see this video. This man had the truck parked in the middle of the street.
He wasn't hitting anybody.
He wasn't hitting anyone. He was parked.
It wasn't doing what Good was doing.
Of course,
he wasn't running it at ICE agents.
Parked in the middle of the street, and then this happens. Let's see if you can see. Sorry, guys, we gotta.
And his position. Let's interpret his position for everyone, because the mullahs and whatever. When he says no Shah, he means he doesn't want a monarchy. He doesn't want the crooked Pahlavi regime back. When he says no mullahs, it means he wants the Ayatollah gone.
Right.
And when he says he doesn't want America to repeat the mistake it made in 53, he means he doesn't want America to bring in a figurehead puppet like the Shah's father was to destroy their democracy.
Right.
Which is a very, very sound position, because if you play out history, things would be very different had we not done that. So he says no Shah, no regime, meaning the regime of terror. Don't repeat 1950. You can't make out
53,
the last 53. That's what it should be. No mullah. Okay. So what he's asking for is a government of the people. No, not a king, the Shah, not a regime, not the Ayatollah. Right. So obviously there are people that don't agree with that.
Right.
Which is fine. Right. They have every right not to agree with it.
Then this happens. Sorry, guys, just gotta pull up the video. So he's there.
Is he in the car?
He's in the car.
Is that him in the car?
Yeah. Well, there's no sound from them, but that's him in the car, and they start breaking his window. Right. These are obviously pro.
So this is before he did anything.
Yes. He's sitting there with his car in protest. He's also protesting, exercising his First Amendment rights, it appears, by driving this truck around with that sign on the side. And so he's there in the middle of the street, and as you can see, he is attacked. And in that situation, what appears to happen, and we're going to get some other video here, because we show the moment he takes off.
Well, he sits there for quite some time, though.
Right. So he's getting, and he drives here, but he's waiting. Look, he stops. And look ahead. There's nobody in the front. He's waiting and he's moving a couple of feet at a time until people are out of the way. He's not actually hitting people.
Was anybody hurt? Anybody taken to the hospital?
There are reports of one person being injured, but we have to see how. Look, he stops. Watch closely. So he's not moving. And then his windows are knocked out.
What's he supposed to do? Stay there and have him pull him out of a car and rape him?
But watch here. He stops. He drives up a little bit and stops as if he's waiting for the people in front to get out of the way. Watch. Stopped. And he pulls up, stops, and then he goes. Stops again.
I don't see anybody in front of him.
And there's nobody in front of him. It's a wide open lane. By the way, these people are the ones in the street, by the way. Look, right there, you can kind of see. I'll stop it here.
So before
here, look at how open it is down the street.
Yeah, I can see that. So before he takes off, they have broken both windows.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And we don't know what we don't have any video or audio on the language that was being used.
Well, we have the audio here. It's just a lot of screaming and yelling, but no, we don't.
Yeah, and I don't see anybody on the ground.
Right.
Anybody pretend to be injured?
Well, that's because the news is reporting how he plowed through.
He actually went through rather carefully.
Well, he did. That's the thing. And I saw as soon as this happened. Sorry.
They were given enough time, unlike the agent who they were given enough time to move to the side.
Right. Yeah. So we're just trying to, a lot of moving parts here, but we have other videos we're trying to pull up. But yeah, clearly how this has been covered is extremely inaccurate.
That's terrible.
Of course.
But that's very typical, right?
Yeah. I'm not surprised. It's just, and people, they have their idea in mind with the recent truck attacks where this is, so these people that are hanging on the truck are attacking him. They're not attempting to stop a truck ramming incident. They're attacking the driver.
And these are people.
That guy, look, there's somebody on the car. There's nobody in front of the car. Look, what truck? There's nobody in front. That's a road. He's driving away, trying to.
That guy is voluntarily hanging on to the car in order to try to break his window on that side.
Right.
And they're running after him.
Right. And then they pull him out. This guy's in it.
Is he pulled out?
The police are actually trying to secure the scene. They probably want to question him. Who knows what they know at this time? But they're trying to get this crowd off.
And they're throwing things at him.
Right. This is not a truck ramming a truck. He's driving away. The road is open. He waited. If you saw in the previous video.
Well, when did the police pick him up?
We'll have to get a timeline on that.
But is this before he drove away or
this is after? This is after everything. This is police secure the scene at this point.
They're not securing it too well.
Well, they're attempting to.
Yeah, well, that sounds like the LAPD. How they're attempting to.
Right. So I got to get some.
Well, let's see if we can get something that shows the end, because the end is rather confusing. Why does he stop eventually? Marta, I mean, if it were you and me, I would drive the hell out of there, wouldn't you?
Right.
Why does he stop?
He may be out of.
And those people caught up with him, and they were about to. They looked like they were trying to hurt him.
Oh, he probably stopped because people were in front of him.
Well, the police stopped him.
This is a video of him at. Oh shit! This is the video at the end.
Now, what is it? What are we looking at now?
This is the end. This is where he's pulled out by the police.
Oh, look, and they're banging up his truck.
Right. They're hitting him. They're attempting to hit him. That's assault. But wherever you stand on the protests or the regime change, it's important that we all.
Well, it looks like they
understand
shot
the truth about
supporters
these
in Los
incidents.
Angeles, a bunch of goons.
Right. So it's important that the truth about these incidents is told, and this one was too easy. Look, they're smashing his window out in the front.
Oh, somebody hit him on the head.
Why is that okay?
Why aren't the cops protecting him?
Right. They're not doing it. Cops are in over their head, it appears. They're obviously outnumbered. But I don't think this would happen under Mayor Giuliani's.
Is this L.A.?
Yeah.
With that silly mayor? Mayor can't,
Exactly.
can't fill up the fire hydrant.
And where's the mayor coming out and correcting the record?
Maybe she's in Bermuda or something. Where was she when the fire was going on?
Right. So he likely stopped because there were people in front of him, and he wasn't attempting to murder anybody. And look what they do to his windshield. Somebody jumps up on the hood. Are they going to?
So he's being attacked because of his expression of his First Amendment right.
And at this point, I'm guessing some people are probably misinformed and told that he just drove his truck through the crowd, right?
Yeah, but I don't see any ambulance there. I don't see anybody being carried off.
Right. But I'm saying look at the reaction. Look at the people jumping on the hood of the car. Look at the guy jump on the hood of the car and try to break the front.
Gotta be. If he hurt anybody, the press would have exaggerated it beyond anything. You'd see pictures of
this is immediately after. So people in the crowd may be fired up. Like you said, a mix of people that support the Shah, that don't like the messaging.
You're too nice.
Well,
they're a bunch of goons. Would you do that? I wouldn't do that. People do that? No, I wouldn't do that.
Of course not. And it shows what, everyone the folks
they couldn't tolerate the fact that he wants to tell the truth.
Right.
That the Shah is really was part of a organized crime group, the Pahlavi family that ran that country.
Right.
They weren't royalty of any kind. They were imposed because they were the ones that would do the bidding of Britain and the United States.
Right.
And steal their people's oil.
Right.
That's just the reality, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
The Pahlavi family is an extraordinarily corrupt family. Every single penny that ne'er-do-well Nepo baby has is money that was taken from the mouths of his people. He's never worked in any capacity at all. This is a report that was done about it. And there were many. Corruption was extensive at the highest government levels. By the way, it wasn't just the Shah who made himself rich. It's all people around him. They walked out with hundreds of millions and billions. I mean, they left Iran with nothing. Estimates suggest that bureaucratic corruption in 73 to 76 alone involved billions of dollars. Iran's central bank reported that 107 individuals had transferred over $2 billion out of the country. And some sources claim Mohammad Reza Shah transferred as much as $31 billion. Reza Pahlavi became immensely wealthy when he came back in 1953 by forcibly acquiring vast amounts of land and property, taking in that period of time over 3 million acres by jailing families until they sold to either him or his designated person. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi Foundation, later changed to the Alavi Foundation, was widely perceived by international law enforcement as a front for corruption and a tax haven, controlling assets that started about 1 billion and reached about 3 billion. Nepotism and influence peddling, which is exactly what his son is the product of. A CIA report described the royal court as a hub of corruption and influence peddling. Members of the Pahlavi family, including Princess Ashraf, the Shah's twin sister, were noted for their involvement in financial corruption and were directly involved in the international drug trade, for which, by the way, she was arrested. Beyond financial issues, the regime was criticized for moral corruption and a disregard for constitutional rule, creating a divide between the government and the populace. This systemic rot damaged the Shah's legitimacy and led to what ultimately was the regime of terror. Ultimately, the regime's inability to address these failings was a key factor in the success of the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Um, you should know that his father was removed because of his sympathies for the Nazi regime. During World War II, the original Shah, that's the grandfather of the Nepo baby, perceived sympathies for Germany led to the Anglo-Soviet invasion of Iran in 1941. He was forced to abdicate in favor of his son and died in exile in South Africa. That's the head of the crooked family. He was a Nazi Hitler friend. The CIA-backed coup, which is called Operation Ajax, overthrew the popularly elected Mossadegh and reinstated the Shah as an absolute monarch. And then we read to you about their acts of corruption. So that's the that's the history. Here's another report. Iran's exile prince, the legacy of corruption, repression, and incapability. That's him there. So if you want to read this, I would recommend you can get it online. A dynasty built on corruption and brutality. Reza Pahlavi, a figurehead for corruption. That's him. That's Nepo baby. Savak. Now, Savak is the secret police that tortured and killed so many Iranians in order to preserve for Nepo baby his wealth. And then another troubling aspect of Reza Pahlavi's position is his relationship with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. The IRGC, an organization designated as a terrorist group by the United States and several other nations, is the primary instrument of repression in Iran. Pahlavi's recent statements have suggested tacit support the IRGC efforts to control and suppress the protests and sweeping across Iran even more. In an interview with Politico, he called for cash to be released to the people that engage in peaceful civil resistance, which could also finance defectors from the regime to communicate and organize among themselves. In his opinion, many of those currently working for the Tehran regime will need to stay in place to help rebuild the country once the Ayatollahs are ousted. These remarks raise serious concerns about his genuine commitment to democratic reform. Rather than advocating for an end to the repressive policies of the IRGC, Pahlavi's rhetoric has appeared to align more with the IRGC's interest in managing and containing the protests. This has led many to believe that his public stance is less about genuine democratic change and more about securing his own position within the Iranian political landscape. So this is pretty much the position of the guy who got beaten up there by the Pahlavi crowd, which was played by the newspapers, played by the newspapers as and the press as some crazy guy who just attacked them, when it's just the opposite. They attacked him. And just in case, Ted, you want to show him this? Can you put this on? That's one of the two.
Yeah.
Shall we take a break?
Yeah, just one second. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a very special.
Oh, good, and we can leave that on the screen.
We have a very special
Okay.
guest. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Welcome back. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor Live. There are a large number, and we'll put out for you all of the names and all of the people that have been involved over the years in attempting to, first of all, create regime change in Iran so the people of Iran can be free, and also to make sure that it's done in a way that it leads to a democracy rather than another despotic regime, whether it be a theocratic one or kind of an organized crime one, like the Pahlavi family. One of the people that probably has done the most to guide that and to guide all of us who have worked on it is the former senator from New Jersey, Senator Torricelli. And Senator?
Good evening, Rudy. Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you, too. This is an interesting time, huh?
It's an interesting time when I think, Rudy, how many years you and I and so many others have put in waiting for this day. The people who have suffered, the lives that have been taken, a generation of Iranians who have lost their freedom, their opportunities for good lives, that we could be there. And I hope and I know the president will do everything he can to help the Iranian people from a distance. I know it's their struggle, but in our prayers and our every efforts, I trust are with them.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as I can tell, he is leaning toward intervening if they continue the slaughter that's going on. And I have to imagine it's a lot more than we're being told. I mean,
Rudy, in the years we've been doing this, I've learned so much that I didn't learn when I was all my years in the United States Congress. The first rule is that if the New York Times isn't there, then in the American press's mind, it didn't happen. So they were literally right that 100 people died, 50 people died, because they're getting that from third and fourth sources. There's no Western reporter there. You and I know that's not what's happening. Thousands of people are dying. Thousands. It is always far different than we're reading in the Western press. And I don't say that with any glee. It's a tragedy, but it has helped prolong this problem that the world doesn't know the truth about what's going on in Iran.
Now, how do you account? Because I know this has been a source forever for us, frustration about MEK and the unbelievable avalanche of propaganda that just isn't true. I mean, you and I have been inside MEK about as thoroughly as you can be, right?
Rudy,
We've seen every
it's
and not just you and I, maybe 50 or 60
oh,
or
and
70 or
on
80 of them.
I've actually nein seen an organization that had such deep bipartisan support and people I respect
It
across
was
the board.
recommended to me by John McCain.
John was in it for many years. I think we've had 3 former directors of the CIA, 2 or 3 former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, 2 Homeland Security secretaries, and countless members of Congress. It's the part of the problem of our generation. A reporter will sit in their chair in Washington or New York, go on the internet, pick up a quote from 30 or 40 years ago, some nugget, and it never goes away. No matter how untrue it might be, it never goes away.
Right.
So if you'll bear with me for 1 second, Bill
Please.
Clinton, who I otherwise admire, put the MEK on a terrorist list. Now, we all know why. He was trying to placate the Iranian regime with all the good intentions of reestablishing some dialogue. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm not faulting him about it. When we went to federal court on that, the court ordered the State Department to review it because there was no evidence. I presented the case
I remember.
challenging a State Department lawyer. I argued for 4 hours, going over every detail, that there was no evidence of terrorist activity by the MEK whatsoever. And when I finished the State Department and turned to the State Department lawyer, he said, "We rest." They didn't have a word, not a word. But yet every time you pick up the newspaper, you pick this up, that the MEK has been a terrorist organization. It's a problem. It predates the internet, but the internet has made it so much worse. People don't do work. I'm sure I know you've experienced this in your own life. I won't go into it, but I know you've experienced this. They pick up a nugget and just beat it to death.
And in a way, it's depriving millions of people of the benefit. I mean, when we would go to Paris before they threatened to bomb it and blow us all up, I can't dispute the fact that there were 80, 90, 100,000 people there.
100,000 people.
Yeah,
I mean, year after year.
All over Europe, United States. It's the last
and yet
it's the last
I'll pick up the
place
newspaper. You'll pick up the newspaper and it'll say, "Well, the MEK, which does not have any following." But in my experience, if Mrs. Rajavi and the MEK tonight puts a slogan out there, tomorrow you will see it on banners and painted on street corners all over Tehran. They have hundreds of people in these activist units that are helping to demonstrate for freedom. Listen, it's the frustration. It's a reality. There's nothing we can do about it. The Iranian people just have to seize this moment and win anyway. The one important role that all of you in the Republican Party can play, I can't, you can, is that in this final critical moment, incredibly, the name of the Shah's son is emerging as an alternative government. Now, I love the United States government. I've been in it almost all my life, but it is a powerful and a great institution, but incredibly naive. I know exactly where the name of the Shah's son is coming from. It's coming from the mullahs. They're trying to create a false narrative that either you have the mullahs or you have the Shah. And nobody wants either, but that it's part of the strategy for them to survive. Nobody wants the Shah back in Iran. A right-wing dictatorship isn't any better than a religious dictatorship. They're both fascism, and neither should happen. And there is a democratic alternative. You and I know there's a democratic alternative committed to democracy in Iran, peace for its neighbors, non-nuclear, secular, respecting women's rights. There is an alternative, but we can't get pushed into this false narrative. I hope all of you in the Republican Party do your best to ensure the president doesn't get caught in it.
Yeah, we are, and I am. And the reality is that very, very fortuitously, as a fairly young lawyer, when I left the Justice Department during the Ford administration, I represented some of the Shah's ministers.
I didn't know that.
Who had fled and who were trying to protect their money. I didn't represent the Shah. And I have to tell you, from what I can, that isn't privileged, that they really hated him.
Well, and the damage he did to their country. Listen, Rudy, if there was no Shah, there wouldn't be any mullahs today. The mullahs are a creation of the backlash from the brutality of the Shah.
And I would say now, given all the experience that I had, they operated kind of like an organized crime family. All these ministers had to kick back to him.
They made a lot of wealthy people, and a lot of them are sitting in Los Angeles right now that arrived here with suitcases full of cash. Now,
absolutely,
they are what they are, but they're not part of Iran's future. And the United States is better than in any way backing them. An interesting thing, which when all this is said and done, will be written, is I've seen some of the pictures being put on American television where people are chanting for the Shah. The Iranian government has dubbed that over. When you take away the language and see what they're actually, that's not what they're saying. It's being used as propaganda from the Iranian government. And I will say, as despotic as the Iranian government is, they have played the United States internally in our media and sometimes our government like a fiddle. It has been something to behold.
So all during the years, now you've been involved with them probably longer than I have. So I've been involved with them since 2010. So you go back to earlier than that.
I actually met them. I met them when I was a young congressman in the early 80s.
Okay, so
when they were just starting to organize.
So you go way back. Okay. Now, at any time, as you have been, and you have been tremendous in fighting, put even the MEK aside, freedom for the people of Iran. As the Nepo baby Shah
never effective.
Exerted did he take any risk?
Not relevant. Never popped his head up.
No, I mean, I don't have to exaggerate this. You could have died several times doing this, right? You know that.
Yeah. No, I
know that.
You and I have both been in harm's way over this many times.
Has he ever put himself at risk?
No. It's a public relations creation at the last moment, and you know, I don't know the man, and he may not even realize the extent to which he's popped his head up at the last minute, and the Iranian government is now using him to try to create this dichotomy. If you don't have us, you're going to get the shot.
You know,
and they've done it brilliantly, and he's fallen. He's allowing himself to be used.
Well, you know, their ability to infiltrate is second only to China. I mean, it's really unbelievable. They're better than the Russians were.
They're very good at it. I saw the British a month ago have done an investigation to see how much money the Iranians are spreading around London to influence the British government and the British media. They've exposed it. Now, if they're doing that in London, you and I have seen enough to suspect it's widespread in Washington. You can bet it is considerable. Wow. But there's every time the name the MEK shows up, or Mrs. Raji, for example, there's always somebody in a think tank who's available immediately to say something negative and to feed a reporter some nonsense that you and I know is a bold-faced lie. You know, maybe they're just uninformed, maybe they're naive, maybe they're stupid, maybe they're not.
No, maybe they're being paid. Yeah. Well, we'll be back. I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. I mean, I think it's going
to happen, and if it does, I want a free sample of Rudy's coffee.
You get as many free samples as you want, and we'll drink it in Tehran. Okay.
All good, Rudy. Good to
Or
see you.
maybe we'll go to a Yankee game together.
Even better. That's a
We
stronger
ever gonna
bond we
put
have
that
too.
together again?
I actually feel pretty good about the year.
Good.
They're keeping largely the same team, and I think it was probably a wise thing to do.
Yeah, that's what happened. They were almost there. That's what you got to
They
do.
were.
You
You have to remember that they didn't get where we wanted, but they almost did. It was and a few things could have changed. Now they played together a little bit longer. They know each other a little bit better. I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. I mean, we totally disagree on politics, except for this, right? Probably not completely. This
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
this guy is a very, very sensible, common sense guy, among other things. God bless him, and thank you,
Good to be with you, Rudy.
for
Bye-bye.
sacrificing so much for freedom. But is there anything better than doing that? Nothing.
Nothing better than knowing that you can touch people's lives on a scale like this and have such an
Yeah.
impact.
Well,
That's
God
why
bless.
That's why we all went into politics.
God
That's
bless
why
him.
we did, and here we are.
God
Be
bless
well,
him.
Rudy.
Yep. Hope to see you when we have victory. Everything I said about him is absolutely understated. He has done an absolutely magnificent job, and tremendous pressure on him, tremendous attacks. This government is relentless, and it's also quite a bit shrewder and smarter and cunning than you think. You think of them as crazy religious zealots, and that they may be that, but they also have extraordinarily good political instincts, which is how they outfoxed and beat 5 or 6 other groups, substantial groups, including the MEK, that all joined together to overthrow the dictatorial, homicidal, crooked Shah. And they were supposed to come out of it with what had been taken from them, what Mossadegh had put together. They were supposed to come out of it with a Republican democracy, a democracy based on, or a government based on the election of the people, with a rule of law, and the Shah, of course, wouldn't agree to that. The Ayatollah, who was in Paris at the time, although his group was cooperating with them, had made it clear that he wanted nothing other than to see a restoration of freedom and decency for the country, and that he would, if he came back, he would take no part in government, and he'd go live out his life in Guam, kind of like a pope. Now, what they didn't notice is he was really talking about the Pope of the Middle Ages, not the present Pope, the Pope that went out and led armies and killed people. Right? That's what he was talking about. And they all worked together on the theory they're going to put together this monarchy. They even had this democracy. They even had thought about the possibility, if the Shah were willing to restrain himself and give back a lot of the money that he had stolen, of a constitutional monarchy built around him. Or they thought about a constitutional monarchy built around the Ayatollah, with the Ayatollah being a figurehead. He delayed returning. By the time he returned, the whole country had been organized in various areas by the mullahs, who are really gangsters, not religious people. And they've created an overwhelming avalanche of support for him, or made it appear as if there was. And he, in turn, over a period of, first immediately, and then over a period of 3 or 4, he killed all of his opposition, including he probably has wiped out he and his successor, Khomeini, right? Not related, have probably wiped out 120,000 members of MEK. I mean, they did in one short period, I guess it was at 88 or 89, they wiped out 30,000 people. And now I can assure you that whatever the actual number of people that are killed, at least 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2 is a member of MEK. They are much more powerful internally than they are given credit for. I saw them, watch them direct the unbelievable number of protests that took place back in 2018 that came close. And there's no doubt that it isn't the Shah he doesn't have the capacity to do this. You can't imagine their unbelievable communication ability, which is why myself and Senator Torricelli and others have communicated within Iran numerous times. We're fairly well known in Iran, having given many speeches and panel discussions and there. So we'll continue to bring you this information because the mainstream press is hiding it from you. Because for reasons that I partially understand, and will over the course of the next couple of weeks explain to you, including in podcasts, there's a sick alliance between the American crooked press and the Islamic Republic of Iran. The only reason they let Obama get away with giving them hundreds of millions in cash, right?
Right.
Well, Ted,
Mayor?
what else do we got?
Well, of course, we're still following multiple big stories in the state of Minnesota, where Governor Tim Walz is continuing to defend himself against the widespread founding of fraud. Republicans are calling for his resignation. Of course, our friend Mike Lindell is running for governor. Other people are running for governor. And Walz today visited the site of the Minneapolis ICE shooting, and let's see if he made any comments.
Did he hit anybody with a truck? We showed it on the earlier show, but I really do think it's important to show the definitive evidence that makes this open and shut case. The woman Good, who was a trained activist, somehow, who, if you just look at her appearance, had changed her life from being the girl next door to being something else, who lost custody of her children, even though this was being painted as, oh, this is just a poor mother who has kids at home. And she's got one kid who's 3 years old, who was in school somewhere, who she didn't really seem to be spending a lot of time with. She spends most of her time with this group where she's been trained to de-arrest people. She's been trained to interfere with the proper execution of federal law. And she and her wife were engaged in that. And at the time that she rode her 4.5-ton truck, is that right?
That's right.
Her 4.5 ton.
Yep. 2.5 ton, 2.25 ton, right? 4,500 pounds.
2.25 ton SUV truck directly into the police officer. She was being encouraged by her wife, who has yet to be charged, who has a heck of a lot more, has responsibility for her death. Police officer and the ICE agent has not. He was just trying to do the best he could to save his life. As she aimed it directly at him. And when you hear the final video that was being hidden and not put out in order to frame him, the impact is massive. I'm surprised the guy didn't break every bone in his body. And the action that he took is more than reasonable. The action that she took was criminal. And the action being encouraged by her wife, who's still free, was criminal. In fact, of all the people that are presently around, the wife probably has the most responsibility on her for her death, reflected in the fact that she said it was her fault as a spontaneous declaration. None of this is being emphasized or reported to you by what remains the crooked press that we have in this country. We've come a long way in straightening it out. And it's the reason why we don't have protests all over the country right now the way we did with George Floyd. And it's the reason why buildings aren't burning down. And the protests, although in some cases pretty raucous and fairly large, are not in fact the violent protests under Floyd, because under Floyd, a false scenario was allowed to be floated for a long, long time, which if it had been rebutted with truth, which is a wonderful antidote to this kind of violence, I do not believe the American people would have reacted the way they did. If people had found out that, in fact, the coroner concluded that he died of his own massive taking of all kinds of drugs, that he was on his way to dying no matter what, that he had a history of violence that was despicable, including attacking children and attacking women who had children in their arms and robbing and stealing, that his family was afraid of him, although they rallied around him and seemed to take all the benefits that came with Al Sharpton.
Right.
And they ridiculously put up a statue of this, aside from the questionable way in which he died, thoroughly criminal, antisocial, dangerous individual. So what is this? This is a, why don't you be George Floyd? Why don't you grow up, beat the shit out of your wife, beat the hell out of her when her baby is in her hands, go rob people, steal, don't ever work, and blow your mind away on drugs. And then you'll become a hero because they'll create a false narrative about the way you died. That's what he stands for. And you want kids in Minneapolis to grow up that way? Well, it looks from what you see in Minneapolis, they got a bunch of them that have grown up that way. And I kind of blame the duo that's still there. It's really ridiculous that they're still there. After having ignited mass protests all over this country that was completely unnecessary, tremendous destruction, murder, looting, fires all over the place. The tandem is still there who created it in the first place. Little baby Fry, who gave up a police precinct, the only mayor in history to ever do that. And Tampon Tim, the creature of Red China. And they're still there, and they are particularly little baby Fry. Tampon did it the first day, but baby Fry is working real hard to try to get some fires going. Remember, every single one of the Floyd riots, of which there were 90, had a fire or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 attached to it. Well, so far, so good. I think the counter narrative, otherwise known as the truth, would have done the same thing if we really knew who Floyd was, and we had a more nuanced picture of exactly what happened, rather than just condemning that cop who's now spending the rest of his life in jail. So do you have some of these pictures that we can show them so that we get this definitively resolved?
Yes.
These don't lie. People lie. This doesn't lie.
Right. So which one should we put up first?
Either one. Probably no, either one. Doesn't matter. We can go back and forth. They both pretty much show different aspects of the same thing.
This is the SUV. Which you want to
Just play it, whichever one.
I'm just gotta bring this up. Sorry here. So this is the full video here. This is Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's
I mean, they're
fine.
obviously
US
professionals, right?
citizens.
Only a professional protester would talk about the
Well,
lake.
she's taunting. She's
You wanna come
taunting
out,
the
miss?
ICE agents.
I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Calling him fat.
Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the
All right,
car.
Chief, let's go.
Did you hear that impact? You don't have to. Did you just hear the impact? And you heard her right beforehand encourage her to do it. Drive, baby, drive. Why the hell isn't she arrested?
Right.
I mean, if we want to figure out who's responsible for the death of Nicole Good, first of all, the top of the list is Nicole Good.
Right. Well, of course.
If she hadn't decided that day to go there and interfere in the proper administration of federal law, although encouraged by her equally lawless mayor and governor,
Right.
and Congresswoman, is she still married to her brother? Well, whatever.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
disputing it.
congresswoman who began without a pot to piss in, and ended up being
with
worth
them.
now about 20 million.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I wonder where that came from. When there's 1 to 9 billion in federal money stolen by the Somali community. I mean, this is I don't know if Chicago was worse under Al Capone. I don't know. I don't think it affected innocent people as much as this does.
Right.
I mean, they pretty much stuck to themselves and killed each other. I mean, these people prey on everyone.
Right.
And this ICE agent is just doing his job. And he's got a 2.5-ton truck barreling down, directed at him with the whatever good is good was good. What pronoun did Good use? After, I mean, obviously there was a period of time when you see her when she looked like the girl next door.
Right.
So she was married to one guy. She had 2 kids with that guy. Those kids are gone. The father has taken them. Although originally she was taking care of 3 kids and she was really a very burdened mother. Well, it's not quite
Right.
as burdensome. She had, the 2 of them, obviously, the court didn't want to have any part of those kids, which is a heck of a good decision, by the way. The kid that she had was some podcaster who died. Who I don't know what he died of. We should find out.
That's right.
He was was he some kind of rock guy or?
Yeah, we'll get some info on him.
Well, she has a 3-year-old from him, and then he died, and somehow she went the other way,
Right.
and now she
This was just
has
a
a
few years
wife.
ago.
She has a wife.
This was
Now,
just
if she has a wife, I do not know what that makes her. I'm not sufficiently. I never took, gender 101 and 201 and 301 and 401. I
Right.
never got past 2 genders. I mean, now they're up to 57. So what is she?
bisexual.
She was.
Bisexual.
Well, that doesn't mean she's bisexual now. Oh, she was bisexual when she died. She could have given up on.
Right.
But what I mean, if I say that somebody is my wife, then am I necessarily their husband? Or can we be 2 wives? Were they both wives?
Well, it depends. Yeah. Yes. Wife and wife.
Okay, well, that's perfect.
Oh, I see what your question is.
Yeah.
Does one identify as the husband?
Well, what was she? I mean, what was she? Did she know what she was? Does that have a
What is
bearing on how
their-
screwed up she was, on how she joined this group
So what is their pronoun?
that teaches you how to de-arrest people? Why the hell would somebody join a group to de-arrest people? What kind of person joins that?
Right. I mean,
this is not in any way not to feel sorry for dying. I don't want to see her dead. I don't want her to die. I just don't want to see an innocent man's life ruined because of it, which is what they're aiming to do anyway, to ruin all the people on ICE.
and yeah,
This
exactly.
man is a man who puts his life at risk to protect us. She never did that.
and it'll have a chilling effect on ICE and their ability to carry out operations
it'll
and protect themselves.
it'll create other attacks on them.
And that as well, especially with the rhetoric continually coming from Tim Walz, Mayor, the boy mayor,
Yeah,
Keith Ellison.
Oh, Ellison, there's another guy. I mean, there's a guy who also took the oath of office on the book that enjoins Muslims to kill Christians and Jews. He took an oath, and right in that book, it says, you make sure you kill all those Christians or Jews, and if you don't, make them into slaves. Don't be friends with them. He took an oath on that book, and we let him sit in Congress, having sworn to destroy us, just like the guy in New York just took an oath on a book that says he should destroy us.
Mm-hmm.
Not too smart. And really pathetic that we can't face the truth. But we're going to make you do it. But I'm not going to make you do it. We're going to make them do it. You do it. People listen to us.
Right.
That's why you're listening to us. And I really encourage you to do it. We got to do even a better job of presenting you with the challenge that the Muslim religion presents to you. And we have to raise with you the question, which we'll pursue through podcasts and other ways: is it a religion? Does a religion command you to kill people of another religion if they don't submit? Is that a religion, or is that something else? Well, we want you to go to Dr. Maria, who's back tonight after several weeks off.
That's right.
Yeah, because the Lindell people took several weeks off.
Right.
For the wonderful and beautiful holidays of the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then of course for the Epiphany, which took place the other day, and also for the New Year's celebration. But they're all back and helping in the very, very big effort that now exists to get the truth out to you. We're not the only ones. We hope we do it well, and we hope we do it with real integrity. I know we do. We try. But there are plenty of now people who kind of balance the lies you've been fed for so long. But it is hard overcoming all that. This one I think we did a good job with. I mean, and I think I have to credit Christy Nome and the government for right away showing you the truth,
right,
and not rolling over to the extortionists and the race baiters and the right away. And the videos don't lie. When you see that truck headed right for him, and you see her heading that car right for him, if that guy had been hit and killed, she'd be on trial for murder.
Right.
And I don't care about Tampon Tim and Little Baby Fry. That would have been a federal crime, and you can believe she'd be on trial for murder, first degree. Now I say to myself, what about Drive Baby Drive wife,
right,
who had taunted the agent originally, and now is encouraging? I mean, she wasn't doing the driving, but her whatever husband, wife, lover, friend, or person she manipulated, telling her to drive, baby, drive, when there was a human being in front of an ICE agent or not. What the hell's that? Oh, that's encouraging murder, isn't it? It's being an accomplice to attempted murder, isn't it? So what the hell is she getting away with it for? We afraid to prosecute her? Hope not. That's when we return to being America, and we're not afraid to have the law operate the way it should, equally and fairly. That's what Biden took from us, and that's what we have to restore. So we'll be back with you tomorrow night on first on Lindell TV, like you're going to go to right now to listen to Dr. Maria, as we are, and then here on X on America's Mayor Live.
America's Mayor Live.
What performance was this, Ted?
8:41.
8:41. Well, pretty soon we'll be at 8:50. Maybe we'll make a little special one on 8:50.
8:50. I mean, they're
Okay.
moving right along.
Pray for the people of Israel and the people of Ukraine. And of course, pray for the people of Iran and Venezuela now. And pray for us. Pray for America, the country that you gave so much to and helped to guide our president, who's doing such a great job. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to